Welcome, it's Ahme and Katie here at Pilates in East, and we have a reformer workout for you. All you need for this one at home would be a reformer and a box. If you have a balanced body reformer, the springs that I suggest will fit. If you are using a different type of reformer, you may have to adjust and figure out the springs because they can be different at the different manufacturers. We're going to start today with Mermaid as our warm-up. So we're sitting, one red spring is a good choice. You'll see that Katie will show you some of the more advanced or challenging version of the exercises, and I will show the gentler versions of the exercise. So one hand on the bar, push the carriage out, reach up and over. That's your inhale. And then slide the carriage back home and sit back up to tall. There's your exhale. Inhale to take the stretch, opening through the side of the body. Exhale to come all the way back up to tall. Inhale, that reach up and over. Exhale to tall. Now we'll hold that side stretch. So press the carriage out and hold it here. Dive that top arm down towards the spring. Take the twist. And then lift that top arm up and look towards the sky. Dive on down and create the twist. Lift and reach for the sky. One more time. Diving down, create the twist. You're looking for a nice little stretch here. Lift the arm and then restack all the way to tall. Now we've got a spring change here. We're going to go to the yellow spring, your lightest spring. Putting that yellow on, taking the red off. We'll do the other side in a second, but we're going to take a walk around to the foot of the reformer. Lean your thighs against the foot bar. Place your hands on the edge of the carriage. Now slide the carriage out and feel a stretch here. Let's just linger with that stretch. Easy does it because we're still in warm-up mode. Take a breath. Then slide the carriage in and round your back so your eyes look down towards your thighs. Press the carriage out, feel that stretch, linger a moment, really reach into it. And then we're alternating that now when we pull the carriage in, we'll create a back extension, so eyes look forward, lift your imaginary tail to the sky. So we press out, hold and breathe, stretch. And then rounding the back, eyes look to the thighs. Press out, reach, feel the stretch. Now eyes look forward, lift the tail. One more of each. Press out, round. And round through the spine. Press out. And arching through the back. Eyes look forward. Press on out. And bring the carriage all the way back home. Now to walk to the other side of the machine, returning to that red spring. One red spring on, remove the yellow. One hand on the bar. Inhale as you reach up and over. There's the side stretch. Exhale to return to tall. Inhale, reaching up and over, side stretch. And exhale to tall. Really opening through the side body, feeling that nice stretch, working with the breath here. Now on the next one, we'll hold ourselves there in the side stretch. Dive the arm down to twist, reach for where your springs live. Lift your arm, eyes gaze to the sky. Dive on down, reach and twist, feel a nice stretch there. Lift, reach for the sky. One more time of each, dive that arm down. Stretch and twist, lift, reach and open, and then restack all the way to tall. Now our core activation today is kneeling abdominals facing the foot bar. This is done on a lighter spring. So a harder choice would be your single yellow. A little easier would be a single blue. So you choose whether you're just doing the yellow or just doing the blue. Hands go on the wood, the standing platform, knees on the carriage. Now starting here with the hands directly under your shoulders and your knees directly under your hips. And we want to connect with that deep core muscle called the transversus abdominis. the belt muscle or the corset or girdle around the midsection. So let's take a breath, and as we exhale, hug the abdominal wall into the body to create a support system for the back. Take a few breaths here, making that connection. You could think of this like the belt that someone would wear if they were wearing a back brace because they're lifting heavy objects, or how a weightlifter puts a belt on to lift really heavy weight. Well, you have that muscle built into your body, and that's the muscle we're trying to turn on to support your back here. Once you feel like you have that connection, slide the carriage out by straightening out your hips. So now it should look like you're getting ready to do push-ups off your knees. Don't worry, we're not going to do that. But that's the position. So notice that our shoulders are over our hands and our hips are in a straight line. So from knee to hip to shoulder to ear creates a straight line. My abs are hugged in. From here, you venture out from your arms just a little ways and then venture back in. Leave everything else the same. Venture the carriage out. Notice how you have to hug in through those belt muscles, that transverse abdominis. The farther out you go, the harder it gets. The more you linger when you're out there, the harder it gets. Work within the means that you can keep a good support system for your back. So if you start to feel this as tension or pressure in your back, you've gone too far. You need to take a break, or you need to motivate your abs to work harder so that the work is done through the front of the body and doesn't get kicked into your back. 2 more here, challenging yourself just the right amount. Ooh, last one. You should feel those tummy muscles waking up and come all the way back in. Bend the knees to return. And the next exercise is also for abs, and we're going to keep a light spring. So I would recommend the yellow spring on this one. So if you were on the blue, shift to a yellow, and then come to lay on your back. This is another ab series to wake up our core. We're going to tuck our hands behind the back of the head, elbows forward, and curl up into a little ab curl. In this case, your eye gaze will be about your knees right now. Feet are lightly resting on the bar, very relaxed toes and feet. So try to relax your feet on this one. Take some breaths, inhale and exhale, to set your abs. Think through how you've connected with your core to fire it up nice and strong. Once your abs feel connected and you have a good breathing strategy, then you're going to float the carriage out and float the carriage in. This one will be very easy for the legs. In fact, you're going to ignore the legs and tell your feet to be really relaxed. And the challenge point here is the abs. So you're staying connected with the abs. Place any part of the foot on the bar that allows your feet to relax. So sometimes what happens is your feet try to grip the bar, and we don't want that. Instead, I want you to feel that the control comes from your powerhouse, not your feet on this one. You should feel this in the abs. Curl a little further forward if you're not feeling enough. And then let's float the carriage all the way out to a straight leg and stay. The lightest feet on the bar as you can. They're just barely resting there. The tummy hugs in. Float one leg into the air. Set it down. Float the other leg into the air. Set it down. Alternating legs. Imagine you're lifting your leg from your core. So think of drawing in through the abdominals to lift the leg. The leg part's the easiest part. You're finding your power in your center. Now we're adding on. Add a little ab curl to meet that leg. As the leg lifts, you curl to meet it. Set it down. Curl to meet it. Set it down. Curl from the power of your upper abs, not from pulling on your head. So the hands are there just to help hold the weight of the head. Soft and gentle there. Now add a twist. Opposite shoulder to opposite knee. And the twist. Shoulder to knee. Twist. One set of ribs will anchor down into the carriage. The other set of ribs will pick up and twist for 4 and 3 and 2 and a 1. Set it on down, let the carriage return to the start. Come on up to sitting for a spring change. We're going to go to footwork now. So your choice on footwork, 3 red springs or 3 springs of some kind would be my recommendation. You can go a little heavier or a little lighter, and then return to laying on your back. Starting in a V shape with your toes on the bar, you're pressing the carriage all the way out to a long leg, and then bending your knees to return. Now I want to find all 10 toes on that bar. So my big toe can feel the bar, and my little toe can feel the bar. And so I'm feeling that contact point with the toes. As I press the carriage out, I'm thinking of elongating my body like the springs are being stretched long. And as I bend my knees to return, I'm maintaining some of that length and poise. Elongate, stand all the way up, maintain some of that length. Elongate, maintain. One more time here, and then return the carriage to the start. Now it's a parallel foot, and you're grabbing the bar with your feet. So your toes are curling around the top, and your heels are hooking around the bottom, like you're making a C shape with the bottom of the foot. Press the carriage out and in. This one can feel a little crampy to the bottom of the foot. That's okay. Now, if you're actually going to go into a full-on cramp, I want you to take a little break, shake it off, join back in. But a little bit of discomfort there is okay, because that's what we're working on, is strengthening the muscles of the bottom of the feet. Like you're a bird on a perch. You're wrapping your bird feet around that bar to hold onto that perch. 2 more. And then return the carriage to come all the way in. Now you're on your heels, doing exactly the opposite. So think long toes and then flex. So pull your toes back towards your knees. Press the carriage out and in, keeping the foot flexed. Now you're opening the bottom of the foot, and you're strengthening the front of the shin area right through here. Press out and return. Think long toes, open the bottom of the foot, connect in with the front of the shin. Even pressure or weight through the heel bone. 2 more here. Now return to your toes. So step your toes back on the bar and push the carriage all the way out to a straight leg. Now it's the ankles only. We're reaching the heels under the bar as far as you can. Feel a stretch. And then lifting the heels to push away as high as you can. So reach under and lift. And reach and lift. And reach and lift. You're looking for the 2 extremes on this one. How far under can you reach, and how high up can you lift? For 3, and 2, and 1. Now alternating. 1 heel drops, 1 knee bends. We're going to stay slow for the first 4. So we're pausing here to really enjoy that calf stretch. Letting the heel reach under, breathing and releasing into the stretch. And let's switch. Pausing here for the stretch. Reaching through the heel. Easy does it. If these stretches feel fantastic and you want to stay a little longer than we do, you're welcome to do that. They're really good for you. Again, slow. Heel reaches. Ease into that stretch. Take a breath. And one more time. Switch. Holding, releasing into that. Then we're going to speed up the movement. So now we're switching more quickly. And switch. And switch. And switch. Still feeling for that, just a little bit of the stretch, so not the same depth as when we were slow, but we want to feel that full range of motion. Go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. One more in the series today. Bring the carriage home. Place your heel on the bar and lift the other leg to tabletop. Now we're pushing the carriage out and in with 1 leg now. We'll start a little bit slower. Feel for being very even through the pressure on the heel. So what I mean by that is if you imagine that there's an inner edge and an outer edge to the heel bone, you'd be even pressure through both. So you're not rolling or leaning to the outer edge or rolling or leaning to the inner edge. Very even pressure. Then I want you to think of fully straightening the knee without locking the knee out. And there's a lift of the muscles right above the knee joint to lift that kneecap, lift the knee up the front of the thigh. Once you've got that focus, we're going to add a little more speed, a little more rhythm and flow, and with the other leg, we'll play the over-under game. So one time we'll reach the leg over the bar, next time we reach it under the bar. And reach, and reach, and reach. Here we go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And yes, that is supposed to burn and sizzle a little. That's the purpose, to get stronger. So on the heel, starting slow, out and in. I'm tuning into that heel bone and thinking of the inner edge and the outer edge, balancing. Then I'm starting to think about my knee, fully straightening the knee so I don't stop short, but I also don't kind of kick back at the end. Full knee extension with the lift or tone of the muscles right above the kneecap. Really healthy strengthening here for the knee when you think of those two things. Then we add a little bit more rhythm and flow. And finally, we'll add in the over-under again, reaching over the bar, then reaching under the bar. Reach over the bar, reach under the bar. Building a little heat and strengthen that leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Return the carriage. We're sitting up a moment to change springs. Now there's 2 changes to your equipment here. One is to pick your springs for pelvic lift. This is the one where you're going to lift your hips in the air. It's going to work the backs of the legs. If you're new to this one, I'd recommend 1 red, 1 blue. If you want a more challenging version, 1 red, 1 yellow, or even just 1 red. In this case, the lighter spring is actually the harder spring. The other change you need here is if your headrest is up, the headrest needs to go down for this exercise. Now return to laying on your back and start your legs in parallel on the arch of the foot. Now Katie's going to lift her hips high. That's the more advanced version. I'm going to keep my hips low, just a few inches off the carriage. That's a little gentler. So lifting the hips up to your start, and then you slide the carriage out and in. Here we're looking to work the back of the legs, so you'll feel it in those hamstrings. Maybe the glutes and the back muscles are working here as well. It's always a good idea to check in with the rest of the body and see if you're holding any unnecessary tension. So check in with your neck and your shoulders. Ease off any tension that you're holding there and focus the exercise on the targeted area. One more time. And return and lower your hips. Now we take a wide turned out stance right to the corners of your foot bar, and again lift the hips up, either staying low or lifting nice and high. Venture the carriage out and in. Here we're toning and strengthening a little differently. Think of the wrapping muscles around the hip, right at the base of the buttock and top of the thigh. Down the sides of the legs, just a little more on this one. 2 more. And then bring the carriage home and lower your hips down. Give it a little shake out. I'm feeling this one. Last one in the series is a narrow turned out. So now my heels are touching, but my knees are a little bit wider. Lift the hips up and slide the carriage out and in. You can stay low or lift high again. It's a little tricky to see when you're on your own at home, but the alignment we're looking for here is that your knees go in the same direction as your toes. And actually that goes wrong a fair bit at the studio when we're teaching classes, so that is worthwhile taking a peek at your own toes and knees to see, are they going in the same direction as each other? That's an important alignment detail here. 2 more. We're getting a very good leg workout today. And come all the way home, lower down. We're headed to feet in straps. So sit up a second and choose your feet in straps. Usually I say 2 red springs. You could also go for a red and a blue on this one. Come to lay on your back, pick up your loops. We're stepping our feet into the loops one at a time. And then we're going into some frog. So create a turn out. Your heels are pinched together, bending the knees, and then reaching out long. Bending and reaching long. Here we want to be in a neutral pelvis and full knee extension. Think of fully straightening, really standing all the way up into those ropes. Finish the movement. Feel a zip into the inner thighs for 4, and 3, and 2, and a 1. Parallel feet. We're headed into circles. So legs come towards you, then rotate to turn out. Circle your legs around, pinch your heels together, and rotate back to parallel. Parallel up the middle, turned out to draw the circle. Heels come together, parallel, rotate, turn out, circle round. Nice. This elongates the back of the leg now that we just worked, as well as continuing to tone and strengthen your legs. And now we'll reverse the pattern. So let's do our circle first, coming around, pinch your heels together, feel your inner thighs, parallel, and take it down. Turn out to draw the circle, pinch the heels together, parallel to come down. Now with our circles, we want to keep the hips anchored down on the carriage. So when the legs come towards you, I want to show you what you won't do. You won't let your hips hoist up like that. Stay down. Good. 2 more. Nice big circles to give you a stretch. And then we're stepping the feet out. So bend the knees a little. Step 1 foot. That foot finds the bar. Step the other. And then store your loops on your hooks. Come on up. We have some back work to do now. So we're going to grab the box and place the box on in the long box position. Like so. We want to place it in front of the shoulder rest so it holds the box from sliding off when we're on it. Then we'll go to our chest. And the spring on this one, 1 red spring, or 1 spring at all. You can pick which one. Hands are just a little wider than shoulder width. Press out to a long arm. Lift your chest up to stretch the back. Lower your chest down and bend your elbows to return. Do it again. Press out. Lift the chest. Lower the chest and bend, return. Put a little energy into your legs so you feel they're strong. Think of the low abs especially supporting your low back. And these first few swans or back extensions are to start to mobilize the spine or stretch the back into this position. Inhale feels good as you lift up. Exhale feels good as you lower down. But breathe what feels natural for you to keep that breath cycle. Now we're going to take the bend and straighten out of the arms. So we're going to keep the arms still and just lift and lower the chest. Now over time, I want you to think about using more and more back muscle and less arms. So your arms are attached to the bar, but they're just keeping you connected. And you're thinking of using this exercise as a way to strengthen your back muscles. Think about the muscles, your back muscles that are up between the shoulder blades as well. So not just that low and middle back, which is easy to find, but the upper back as well. Reach the legs long, nice and strong through the legs. Now we're going to add on, all the add-ons are optional. As you lift your chest, float one arm up with you and lower it down. Lift the chest, float the other arm up with you. Lower it down. Alternating, strengthening the back of the body on this one. Now we can add on again. As we lift the arm, lift the opposite leg. And vice versa, lift the arm opposite leg. Connecting those diagonals. Good, one more for this side. One more for the other. And then easy does it. Draw the carriage all the way home. Take a little step off to the side. Headed into a little bit more abs now, short box abs. We'll turn the box, and depending on your machine and how tall you are, some people will put the box in front of the shoulder rests, and some will actually step it over the shoulder rest. Just make sure it's not too far over that it falls off. I like it in front. Actually drop our bar all the way down to the bottom for this one to get it out of the way. Now for short box abs, we put all of the springs on. Our intention is that the carriage will not move on this exercise. Come to sit on the box, hook your feet into your loop, and you want a little bit of room behind you, not a lot, but not none. So I usually say about a hand's width of space between the back of the box and you. Arms come up in front, relax your shoulders. Now I'm picking up my pelvic floor, scooping in my lower abs, then tucking the pelvis and starting to roll back from my low abs. Roll back and come to hang out of your strap. Easy shoulders. Let's take a hand and place it just below the belly button. 3 breaths here. Inhale, exhale, pulling the abs in away from the touch of your hand. Inhale, exhale, pulling in, and think of tucking your pelvis under a little bit more. One more breath, drawing the abdominals in, tucking and scooping, and then restack back to tall. Same thing again, tuck the tail, scoop the abs, start to roll back. Other hand just below the belly button. Inhale, exhale, pull the tummy in. Using your breath to deepen and connect with those low abs where the hand is. Pulling in and then restack to tall. One more time, here comes an add-on. No hands this time, but I think about pulling in, I think about getting that tuck. I should feel a lot of sizzle and shake in my abs, but relaxed in my shoulders and pretty relaxed in my legs. So my legs are just holding onto the bar, that's it. Now the arms lift up and lower down. Easy shoulders. Focus on your powerhouse, on your core, holding you together. Now here's a little tip. If this is feeling too hard, sit up a little. Don't lean back so far. If you'd like to challenge yourself more, lean back further. The farther back you go, the more challenging it gets. And so long you can keep the work in the front of your body and it doesn't become pressure and tension in your back, you're okay. But the second it does, you've gone too far. Please make an adjustment. One more, and sit all the way up. Wow, that one got me going. I can feel it. Okay, we're adding a twist now. Tuck tail, scoop abs, roll back, come to hang. Now I'm gonna lead with my elbow, pulling the elbow back. I'm gonna look back towards my elbow and return to the start. Lead with the elbow, reach back, twist, and return to the start. My eyes and chest go with elbow into the twist. Same thing on this one. If I sit up a little taller, it's a little easier. If I lean back further, it becomes a little harder. Creating that twist, we're really working those abs now. Nice and strong and toned core. Last one, and return to the start. Now turn to the side. One leg will stay hooked. The other leg will either be up on the box with me or possibly hanging over the front if that's more comfortable. Now today, I want everyone to start with their bottom hand on the headrest as an assist. So I get to lean out, I have this support, and I take a moment to square my hips and my shoulders and come to hang out of the strap. So my one hip is down on the box and the other hip is lifted up off the box. I'm thinking about really long waistlines here. Now take that top hand and place it on your ribs, right where your ribs would feed into your natural waist. This is where we're looking to work. Let yourself drop down a little and then lift with those side waist muscles. Drop down a little, lift with the side waist. Now it's up to you. You can keep helping with this hand a little bit or a lot, or you could bring that hand up onto the bottom waist, or if you're really looking for a challenge today, you can bring the hands to the head. So those are your challenge levels. Assist, hands on the ribs, or hands lightly on the head. For 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Katie's going to show you a stretch where you reach out over the track and take a stretch. I'll show you an alternative. I could sit up tall, one hand on the box, the other arm reaches up and over, lengthening out that side of the body that we just worked. Long, lean, toned muscles. Take a deep breath into that stretch and come on up. Let's do the other side. Now you know what you're looking forward to. Oh, wow. These are good exercises. Let's place the hand on. Everyone will start here. The other hand where my ribs meet my natural waist, that's where I'm toning. I dip down a little, lift up a little. I can use that hand as an assist the whole time, or I can start to lighten the assist, kind of wean myself off of that as I get stronger when I'm ready. We can place that hand on the rib or both hands to the head, whatever you want to work on today. Long leg kind of hanging out of that strap, working that side waist. Nice, let's do 4 more. Yes, and 2. Last one, and take the stretch, either reaching out over the track or sitting yourself up, lengthening out the side of the body you just worked, breathing into that length. Nice big breath in, and exhale. Come on all the way. We're headed into some arm strengthening now. I'm going to keep my box, but Katie's going to put hers away. These are 2 alternatives to this series. Turning my box to the long box position again. And then our spring weight on this, I'm going to recommend 1 red, 1 yellow. The heavier you go, the harder this one will be, so you can adjust as needed once you figure it out. Katie's going to be tall kneeling facing the back, and I'm going to sit on my box. Pick up your straps. If I'm on the box, I'm going to kind of scooch backwards so that I have a little more space. Then I can grab hold of my little loops. If on my reformer there's not tension right now, I'll actually step a little further forward to create a light amount of tension in the start. Otherwise, you can just kind of walk up to the knot or the tab so that there's a little bit of tension. So you're nice and tall, open chest, draw your handles to your hips, and then ease the arms forward. Draw to the hips, ease it forward. We're wide through the collarbones, tall through the spine, hugging in through the abdominals to support ourselves here, and we're targeting the back of the arm. So the back of the shoulder, down the backs of the arms, that upper back area, opening the chest as you pull your hands to your hips. And we got 4, and 3, 2. Now your hands stay at your hips, stay there. Widen the chest a little more. Get taller in the spine. Little presses right here. Really focus your mind on the back of the arm right here, the back of the shoulder, and think of being wider or more open through the collarbones for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Now just hold. This is the last count. Widen the chest one more time for me. Sit tall or think tall. And 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Ease forward. Nicely done. Now we'll store one of the loops, and we're going to turn to one side. Keep the loop that's closest to the same side we're working on. Now the spring weight on this, I'd recommend either a yellow or a blue. So I'm going to just try the yellow today. Take the loop in the opposite hand and tuck your elbow in at the sides. This is a rotator cuff start. You're sitting or kneeling nice and tall, keeping the elbow tucked in pretty close to your waist, and you're rotating through the shoulder to open out and come across. Now we're adding in a reach here. So we'll rotate, then reach to the side. Tuck the elbow in and come across. Rotate and reach. It's a little different variation of an exercise called draw a sword with a low elbow in this case. Really nice for working those deep shoulder muscles. Great for postural muscles. And you'll notice that the spring kind of catches up with you very quickly. Yeah, one more. Nice. Now change hands, so you're holding the loop in the other hand. This hand can go on your hip, reaching straight for the sky, and the elbow comes down. Reach and down. Now we're trying to keep our torso very straight, so we're not leaning or tipping as we do this. It's also important to keep the movement very consistent, so we're sliding the carriage in and out consistently instead of pulling and having this leg happen. That leg is a no-no. 2 more. Yes. Now, turn around to the other side. So I'll have to change my loop as I turn myself around. Rotate and come across. Tall through the spine, even through my shoulders. Making an adjustment to the spring. If I'm starting to really use a lot of torque and wiggle, it usually means my spring is actually too heavy, so drop down a spring level and focus more on keeping the movement more pure. Now we'll add the reach. Rotate and reach. Elbow and across. Rotate and reach. Elbow and across. Our routine today put together as a nice flow series that will strengthen your whole body. It's a whole body workout. So far you'll notice we've done nice ab work. We've strengthened our back. We felt our legs working and getting stronger. And we're feeling our arms now targeted. 2 more. And now switching to the other side. Arm goes up and down. My arm travels a little bit in front of me. So I'm thinking in my peripheral vision, as I gaze forward, I can see just the blurriness of my arm to my side. So it's a little bit in front of the torso. Not a lot, but a little. Nice and square and tall. 2. And 1. We've got one more here to do, and that is facing the foot bar. So springs, let's talk springs on this one. I'm going to recommend either a blue or a red going this way. So I'm going to pick the blue. Blue will be the easier choice. Red is the harder choice. Now you're either tall kneeling facing your foot bar or on your box. Notice how I straddle my box and kind of put my feet on these little edges. One other little tip is typically we'll use the little loop for the hands, but if you needed to make your spring feel a little softer, if you went to the big loop, it would soften it. We're nice and tall. We reach out, open, close, and bring it in. Reach out, open, close, and bring it in. Now, everyone should start this series like I am on a box. When you get used to the reformer and you learn how it moves and how to control the motion, then you can try Katie's version on her knees. But, fair warning, it is very difficult to hold your balance doing it the way Katie is, especially facing this way, facing the foot bar. So I want you to be very cautious, careful, and thoughtful if you're going to attempt that version. Nice. We got one more here. Reach, open, close, and come back home. Nicely done. All right. Let's do a few whole body to finish off class today. So we'll put our box away. Well, to be honest, all of Pilates exercises are whole body, but some of them target certain areas a little more than others. Let's put our bar up to its natural starting position. And we're starting with an exercise called long stretch. And this one I recommend a red and a blue or a red and a yellow. In this case, the light, well, it can be easier or harder in both cases, so everyone kind of has to figure out what works best for them. Both hands on the bar. I shift my weight over the bar, lift my knees up. Here, traditionally you'd go in the center like this, but you can also use your shoulder rest so that you don't slide. Hold your body in a nice straight line like a plank. Now remember the exercise we did in our warm-up where we were pulling in through the belts to support your back. You want to do that here. Now we're venturing the carriage out and we're venturing the carriage in. This is a whole body exercise, strengthening the arms, abs. The legs are nice and long and strong here too. But mentally, I want you to focus on hugging your abs in to hold that support for your back. The farther you go out, the harder it gets. And the more you linger or go slowly, the harder it gets. Because you have to control and work more on your muscle endurance. Yes, 2 more. This one's quite a challenging one. If you find this one is not for you, then next time you do the video, go back to the kneeling version we did at the beginning of class. All right, elephant. You could add a little spring to this one if you want. Just pop an extra spring on. And now we're coming into a piked position. And in this case, the heels are down. Shift your weight back so your hips kind of shift over your heels and anchor your arms in place. It's a small movement, sliding the carriage out and in, working on stretching the backs of the legs. There's a few different ways we can do the elephant exercise. Today, I want us to focus on this stretch of the back of the legs mostly. Think of your heels pressing down into the carriage and your sitting bones reaching up into the sky. 2 more. Yes, now just pause and hold that stretch for an extra breath or 2, feeling the heels reach down, lifting up through the sitting bones. Now let's talk springs a second. The next exercise in the series is called up stretch, but I want us to start with a modified version. It'll be a plank to pike. So probably the springs you used in your long stretch. So I'm thinking a red, blue, or red, yellow. I'm doing a red, blue today. What we're going to practice is a transition from a plank. So here, you'll notice my chest is over the bar, my legs are nice and long, my abs are hugged in, to a pike. So to pike, I have to shift my hips back, bring my hips over my feet, and pull the carriage forward. So when I plank, the carriage moves out, and I straighten out my body. And when I pike, I pull the carriage in. So plank and pike, pulling forward. Very whole body. You're using your core, you're using your arms, you're using your legs. Now you can stay practicing this one or make it into the full version. Chest over the bar, Slide the carriage out. Pike and pull the carriage in. Open out to chest over the bar, the plank. Push the carriage out. Pike and pull it in. Chest over the bar. Slide the carriage out. Pike and pull it in. One more time. Chest over the bar. Slide on out. Pike and pull it in. Finally, down stretch. Your knees are down. Sometimes you can drop the spring weight a little bit on this one. So I might go to a red-yellow now. You'll get to know your springs over time. Try the video a few times so you get to know our routine and you get to know your personal springs. Now here we press the carriage out with a neutral spine. Draw the carriage forward, lifting your chest up through the arms and arching through the back. Press out, draw it forward, lift, and arch through the back. Notice as you're arching your back here, you're not dumping into your low back. So it's not a collapsing in the low back. There's a lift and tone through the front of the body, and you're lifting your chest up through your arms to open the collarbones. 2 more here. Lift your chest, open. Last one. Yes. And then easy does it. Bring the carriage home. Finishing with a lunging stretch today. 1 red spring. 1 foot is on the ground. 1 foot is on the shoulder rest. You can lightly rest your knee down. Slide the carriage out to create a hip stretch. Notice how this front knee is bent. And I'm feeling most of the stretch in the hip on the leg that's reaching behind me. I may feel a little stretch in this hip too. That just depends on where my stretchy bits are for me. Easy through the shoulders. Take a few breaths. Now, whichever knee is on the carriage, that's the arm that lifts into the air. Think of reaching up and forward with the arm and reaching back with the leg. Creating that length, breathing into the length. And set that down. Now I keep moving the carriage out, but this time straighten the front leg. And if I want more stretch, I'm going to lift my toes off to flex the foot. Lifting up through the sitting bone. So I think of my sitting bone reaching that way. I work my knee as straight as I can. And easy does it, come all the way home. Over to the other side. Starting with that nice lunge. Open the hip. Using a little bit of core support so I'm not overarching my back. So that little hug of the abs. Soften and yield into the stretch. Picking up the arm and reaching long. Now this will be our final stretch with you today, but if you have a few more stretches you really enjoy doing, a nice neck stretch or some arm stretches, go ahead and finish off with those on your own. The arm reaches forward, the leg reaches back, breathing into that stretch. 2 more breaths. And set it down, straighten the front leg. Lift through the sitting bone, so that sitting bone reaching back. If I want, I pick up my toes. Working the knee a little straighter over time. Easy does it on the stretch. 2 more breaths. Enjoy that little quiver and shake that your body has after a nice workout. And then ease the carriage all the way in. Well done. We are so delighted to join you in your home or wherever you're traveling, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.